Name's Cal. Yes, Atlas.
No, please, do carry on.
I got a feeling you have something to say.
Only, shouldn't it be Drost? Cal Drost.
Let's just get to the briefing, shall we?
Right. Bit touchy today.
I need to start off this video by saying that I'm not the biggest James Bond fan out there. I mean, it makes you wonder, should James Bond even be a video game protagonist?
Take that filth out of your mouth.
Alright, no need to get upset. Considering that video games are actually designed to make me embrace a character outside my own very limited self, I did decide to give it a go.
Wasn't really expecting much to begin with. The trailers didn't pull me in beyond the frame stuttering that for some reason got praised online for its refreshing honesty. The driving looked stiff, the movement familiar, and to add insult to injury, I wasn't a big fan of the Hitman games by IO Interactive either.
Now, I do have a copy of Hitman World of Assassination in my Steam library with a recorded playtime of about 7 hours.
7 hours. Wow, bold of you to speak with such authority.
As I was saying,
I do not, by any stretch of the imagination, think Hitman is a bad game. I mean, where else are people expected to go if they intend to assassinate over 500 people with the raw power of a floppy fish?
Yes, exactly.
What I did like to see in first light previews, however, was the action. Contrasting what I felt to be lacking in the Hitman series, it was enough to draw my attention. Naughty Dog was really the only developer up to this point to nail the cinematic feel of CQC combat through contextual environment animations. And now, another developer was throwing their hat in the ring with their own take that looked pretty smooth. IO Interactive was effectively creating a spy game with an added layer of action, all on top of a system that was tailor-built for the stealth genre.
so equipped to close to no expectation and a foreign entity to the core fan base, I decided to put on the suit. And then I took it off because it's quite hot right now and I can't be bothered to film with it.
In this video, I'll only be showing footage of my first couple of hours with the game. Nothing about the main story will be spoiled, so remember to hit that like button and let's get started. It's important to understand that this is a complete reboot of James Bond as a character. At the very beginning, you're not even part of the MI6, and the name carries no weight past the opposite side of the screen. Patrick Gibson is the actor who dons the iconic role as an overconfident young Bond.
I hope you don't mind.
Or as some would canonically call him, the insufferable public school dickhead we have for a main character.
All right, I see what you're doing. Shall I add that one to the tally?
Yes, please.
I must give credit where it's due here. Even though I'm not a die-hard fan of the IP, the character does feel believable to the level you'd expect from someone carrying this last name. Clearly inspired by his predecessors and a fitting addition to the cast. Through the lens of IO Interactive, I felt Bond develop from his unpolished self into the agent that I wanted him to be, even if I don't particularly relate to him.
So what you mean to tell us is that you are not suave and you flap at the slightest inconvenience.
Very funny, Atlas. That makes it 3, by the way. Bond isn't really suave as a black and white perspective would see it.
And it wouldn't make sense for this iteration either. What does happen, however, is an evolution through expertise. As I progressed through the game, so did Bond, slowly homing in on what makes him, well, him. I saw his charisma misused, getting in the way of his objectives. At later missions, he fine-tunes it to achieve them.
And that contrast, even to an untrained eye such as mine, makes all the difference when it comes to an origin story for a character like Bond. Okay, I'm starting to think that maybe we're having a little bit too much fun.
Never!
Anyway, First Light does an incredible job at getting you up and running with its game mechanics.
If I had to describe it, the whole experience felt like a mixed pot of Hitman, Uncharted, and something completely new. The combat takes the spotlight here, or rather, one of them.
That's of course if you manage not to fumble a counter, miss a shot, or try to duck into cover only to fling yourself headfirst into a desk lamp. If you are, you're not really leveraging the tools and explanations that the game masterfully offers you.
This is where I would recommend you dive into what IO calls tactical simulations. I've had a lot of fun here. An in-world justified system where you can actually put in the time to master game mechanics and complete as well as compete in different challenges. Sticking to the topic of combat alone, there's quite a bit to master here. Knowing how to submit to the pacing that the game somewhat wants you to follow is extremely important, and as all good systems do, it takes time to master. And as I said, one of the things that got me here was how promising it looked.
And that came with the expectation that it would be a step below a Naughty Dog experience. However, I felt like I was given more agency, more ways to chain moves together.
You see, in Uncharted, you're kind of engaging in these clusters of action, switching back and forth between stealth, melee, and gunplay according to the scenarios the game provides. Now, I'm not saying Naughty Dog restricts you while First Light reinvents the wheel, but here you get an added sense of agency with the amount of unique and contextual attacks that are available. And if you don't believe me, I guess I'll just let Bond show you.
Let's give it a shot. I see you! Head down! Situations.
The game manages to give you that unique feeling that only watching a John Wick movie gets you. One might go as far as to say that
The very nature of Bond is that he is a creature of cinema.
Bravo, Cal.
and that is 100% here for you if you're looking for it. I really didn't expect it. And for that, the blend between stealth and combat alone is something that made the whole experience worthwhile for me. Speaking of stealth, you're not going to believe a certain system that they decided to put into place here.
Oh, I reckon I know this one.
Go ahead.
Tall grass makes you invisible.
Yep.
But in fairness, whenever you're not slowly crouching through a thin patch of chrysanthemums, you're going to be able to make use of a number of gadgets you bring in.
The flash mine uses molecular bonding to adhere to any surface and operates on a proximity trigger. Just the thing if you need to cover your escape or leave someone a nasty surprise. Give it a try.
These allow you to cause distractions, attack hostiles while remaining undetected, and fundamentally transform the environment to your advantage. And sure, you are going to wonder, is that the way that the game is really going to try to make you feel like James Bond? The way that they'll put you in his actual shoes and attempt to embody him as a character?
These numbers here, in a certain sequence, the briefcase is timed to explode. Huh?
No, it's a lock, so people other than myself can't open my briefcase.
Very complex, contemporary technology.
Not really. By having 1 less 4 in your number alias, they managed to substitute the disguise mechanic with a bluff system.
That was clever.
Why, thank you.
I was bluffing. Jokes aside, most security failures happen because people would rather avoid social discomfort than verify authority.
Wow, Atlas. Yeah, well, that was actually useful. And these moments are basically what made me feel Bond's confidence come to life. Within the vicinity of certain hostile characters, you're effectively able to trick your way into restricted or otherwise inaccessible areas. And boy oh boy does it feel amazing to pull off.
As you progress, you also get access to more gadgets, tricks, and tools to navigate through problems as you'd expect. But it's really how and when you utilize them that provides a unique sense of freedom and playstyle that not a lot of games manage to land.
The complexity of Hitman levels makes a return here with multiple ways to tackle missions and a progression system that leaves a lot on the table for different approaches.
Let's see what all the fuss is about. There's Greenway. Hopefully I'm the last thing on his mind. What are you here for?
As I progressed through each sequence, the game gave me a main objective, but left me to figure it out for myself. Simple navigation provides opportunities of engagement and unlocks special scenarios that really made me feel like I was solving problems on my own terms. This is where the Hitman formula really shines through and connects beautifully with all the other systems I've described.
But there's some more things that I gotta cover before we can answer the question, is a man who will say time for tea upon assaulting an international terrorist with a teacup the kind of person you want to spend 40 hours with?
Wait, was this your plan all along?
Perhaps. But with that out of the way,
Did you know that only 3% of people watching are actually subscribed to the channel? So you should definitely hit that subscribe button. Atlas, you're subscribed to the channel, right?
There seems to be a problem with the signal, pal. I'm losing you.
Of course. Well, I guess it's just you and me now.
let's start some nitpicking. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you'd expect, not everything is sunshine and rainbows, but where the game misses the mark is fortunately enough where developers tend to focus the most through post-release.
If Ubisoft is starting to remove clutter from their UIs and providing customizable options for immersion, then we should probably consider having those options in place as a standard to our gaming experiences. At this point, the collective gamer brain understands that tall grass is the effective equivalent of Frodo putting on the One Ring. I don't need outlines or AoE effects to let me know that I am in fact completely invisible to the enemy. The same applies to hand-to-hand combat. By now there should be another way to recognize that you can parry and what you need to dodge. In this particular instance, the moves are pretty recognizable by the animation, so developers don't have to outright remove these effects from the games, but give the rest of us the option to disable them as we please. In the same category, we have the aim reticle. I really don't need much more than a simple dot if I'm not playing Counter-Strike. I get that it's supposed to emulate recoil, bullet spray, or focus, but there are ways of making it much less pronounced. While on the topic of gunplay, the auto-snapping after disarms needs a toggle. It can sometimes feel too restrictive when the aim snaps immediately to the enemy I disarmed.
I get that for console players that makes sense and improves fluidity of combat, but I'm playing with mouse and keyboard to leverage the freedom I get with aiming. Right now, I have to fight the snap aim mechanic if I intend to do something other than what the game wants me to do.
It's not like the cinematic element would disappear by giving players more freedom of movement. If anything, it would enhance it. Again, this is an easy fix with a snap aim toggle option. On the immersive animation level, it's a bit of a shame the weapons don't have straps like in the Uncharted series. It would be lovely not having a shotgun glued to my hip whenever I switch to my pistol. Also, due to what I assume being IO Interactive's targeting a teen rating with First Light, there's no toggles or blood effects beyond the traditional puff of red mist. And considering the combat systems here, it is a bit of a shame. I mean, I wouldn't ask for Wolverine's level of gore here. At the end of the day, if you're a parent who's okay with your kids having mild sexual themes in their games but draw the line at a little blood, this is probably a good thing.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Again, as I said, I am nitpicking here. In general, the HUD has a clean and contextual look. There's just not a lot to say here.
The objective tracker could benefit from hiding dynamically if not toggled through a button, but that's pretty much it honestly. On the settings side, you might want to know that there's no full screen borderless option for some reason.
In terms of optimizations, I only had a single issue where frames dropped significantly while in the Tactical Simulations VR training thing, but restarting the game also fixed the problem. So all things considered, the game is really well optimized and would only benefit from minor tweaks and extra customization settings. I'd be lying if I didn't say that this game completely took me by surprise. IO Interactive took the Hitman formula to another level with its own action-oriented take. The characters are strong, the antagonist's interesting, and the gameplay feels satisfying. I prefer writing for longer format with a more analytical perspective on gaming, but I just had to put this video together as fast as I could after getting my hands on First Light. The game offers you enough freedom where you don't feel as constricted as you would in a Hitman game if stealth maybe isn't your primary focus, while striking an absolutely beautiful balance of player agency and story development. So ultimately, 007 First Light completely exceeded my expectations. And even though I was thinking about skipping this one, I must say I am really glad that I didn't. But alas, that's it for me.
There's a link in the description if you want to join the Discord where we give away one Steam key every single week. And finally, I do want to take a moment and give a huge shout out to Heather Marie Johnson, who took the role of Atlas for this video and was an absolute blast to work with.
So what you mean to tell us is that you are not suave and you flap at the slightest inconvenience.
She's an incredibly talented voice actor, so make sure that you go and check her out on Instagram. Secondly, this video, intro cinematic, and background music wouldn't have existed if not for Mr. Ram99. He does amazing composition work for YouTube and is another incredibly talented individual. So if anything, check these guys out and show the love they most definitely deserve.
I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, leave a like, subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell, and leave a comment with your favorite quote from the PC Gamers review, which inspired this whole thing for me. Thank you for being there, thank you for watching, and for being yourself. I'll see you next time.